Bucharest are now live, and I need to apologize for the delays. We had some technical issues, but we will get started with our finals for the losers bracket. I know you've been waiting for this match, so I will invite the first team on stage. Team Fnatic.
All right, Devil Walk, you guys have had a while since you played your first match today. You had some time to reflect, some time to gather yourselves. I hear you went back to the hotel, relaxed a little bit, so tell me, how have you been spending this free time?
We took a power nap, and then we watched the games and listened to the pause music, I guess, between the maps. And then we talked our veto process through and how we wanted to approach it and, you know, thinking how they would approach it and stuff like that. So I think we got a pretty good set of maps for us in this best of 3.
Everybody knows there's a big rivalry between you guys. Do you have a message for the guys at NiP?
No, I mean, you know, obviously people think it's a big rivalry, but we're good friends, and you know, we're gonna enjoy this match and you know, have a good time and make the best team win. And also want to call this this matchup Klassiken, means the classic in Swedish.
El Clasico, I can't wait to watch.
Okay, congratulations to Team Fnatic. Now on stage, it's time to call up NiP.
Forrest, you're our sacrifice this time, so welcome to the interview, the pre-interview, and you guys just came off a hell of a match. You did have a little unanticipated break there, though. Did that hurt you or help you?
I think it hurt us more than it helped us, actually. We kind of lost the momentum during the game, and we kind of lost track on how we wanted to play that map, and everything just went downhill from there.
Well, how about this break after this past match? You feel ready to take on Fnatic?
Yeah, of course, this break helps us a lot. Like, losing that game, we felt really bad. We should have won the second map at least. So, but we talked it through, and really need to step it up if we're going to go to the grand final here.
Why no shoes?
Dude, it got to feel like home, right?
Yeah. Okay, give it up for NiP.
I guess they're feeling comfortable on the stage here. Let's see who is the owner of this stage at the end of this match. Let's give it over to our analyst desk.
Well, that's what happens when you don't win as many games as you used to. Can't even afford to buy shoes anymore, bless him. Maybe we can have a whip round with the crowd and get enough money together so we can have a pair of boots by the end. But this is one of the games that I think is probably the most intriguing we're likely to see over the course of this weekend. A kind of semi-resurgent NiP versus a Fnatic that have had a long break and have been a little bit rusty. Fnatic did look very good earlier in the day, but again, to contextualize it, it was against an exhausted Envious. NiP have just been you know, beaten fairly comprehensively by TSM. So how do we see this one going, guys?
Well, most importantly, from the historical context, this is a rematch of the final of the last major.
Of course, yes.
And the thing is, obviously Fnatic won that. They kind of crowned their eras, like we won all the sums and now we won the major. But NiP have bad blood over that match. They still think to themselves, like, oh, we should have won it in 2 maps. Like, the Dust 2 game was very, very close. Alo, in fact, if you ever talk to him, he will just chew your ear off about this missed up shot onto, like, for him, like, he's still stuck in that match. It's like Vietnam or something for him, the flashbacks of it, you know. So I know that NiP think they should have won that match. They still think that if they play Fnatic, they have a good match. And I agree with them, actually. Compared to all the teams that have played Fnatic in terms of the top ones, bizarrely, Fnatic have actually tended to have an easier time against Envious than they do against NiP. Now, part of that logically makes sense, which is NiP's also Swedish. The Fnatic guys spent so much time at the beginning of CSGO looking up to those guys. Like, a lot of them were probably, I know JW people were thinking, like, I wish I could be on NiP. Yep. So to actually even be better than them now, there's still a little bit of a psychological thing there. Like, when they're playing Get Right and Forest, it's like, wow, those guys used to be so good. They used to be better than me. So I think that evens it up a bit. I think the familiarity level is there beyond some of the other teams. So even though, yeah, I think Fnatic's been playing the better team today. I think that it will always be a tight match between them. There's so much personal stuff beyond just the in-game stuff.
Do you have anything to add to that, Natu? Obviously, you know, well, a lot of these players from back in the day. I mean, how do we think they're going to react to what's been happening in this tournament so far?
Yeah, I think the storyline here is on NiP's end, how do they channel the energy after what happened against TSM? I'm sure they felt it was a match they were poised to win. They mocked up that first map, the first half especially. Getting 4 rounds on CT and Inferno is a horrible scoreline. Then almost grinding it back, not managing to do it. Then going 10-5 up on the second map, first half, and then having that long break. Totally like Forrest just called it out, them losing the momentum and their mojo, and then losing it in 2. I mean, if they can channel that in the right ways, it can be a positive factor for them. But on the contrary, if it's not, then it's going to be a problem. On the other hand, Fnatic, coming off of a victory against Envy and looking really sharp, all of their individuals were playing tremendously, but they've had a break. So, I mean, a combination of all those things is going to come to play here.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. So let's get into the veto. I think that's probably where we should jump to next, and then we'll talk about players. So this shouldn't surprise anyone here. We had NiP ban Overpass. I won't even ask you guys about that. Then we had Fnatic ban Nuke. I think, again, that's
another very obvious one.
Yeah, another very obvious one.
These are two that they do against any team, actually, not even just against these specific opponents.
Exactly. So NiP picking Mirage. Let's talk about the significance of that.
That's very unusual, actually. I think of Mirage. I think of Fnatic. I think they're the best team on it, actually. I think there's very few teams can actually go head-to-head with them on this map. I mean, one of them would be like Na'Vi, maybe, obviously Virtus Pro. I don't think of NiP and think amazing Mirage team. They had a good game against Envious on it yesterday, but the context of that amazing Dust 2 game that lasted forever, and after that, I mean, everything was going to be like post that game at that point in time. You can't really take the results as 100% serious, so what's strange is here we've got another scenario where I feel like we've got NiP picking one of the opponent's strong maps. Now, NiP usually do that because they claim they have some special approach on it and stuff, but I'm a bit skeptical on this one. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it has to be one of those situations where we all know Fnatic CT play Mirage is exceptionally good. It has to be NiP thinking that, you know, what they're going to do is going to work for them and their confidence on their plays. Also, looking at the map pool, they don't like to play Overpass. They veto that first, and then Nuke is out of the picture. Then you think about Fnatic's strengths as well. All right, Cash is a really good map for Fnatic as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But that's the one that puzzles me, though, because, okay, from what you're saying here, another way to say it is it's very likely we would have had Mirage and Cash anyway in this series. It would have figured out that way because of the bans.
Yeah.
But if I'm actually NiP, of the two, Mirage and Cash, I think I'd rather play Cash first. I think NiP's better on Cash relative to the two teams.
And Cash has been a go-to pick for them on multiple
vetoes
in the past.
It's a map they've liked. It's even a map they won in the major there. That was the second map that they played, Katowice. Even with all of them going crazy, they still won it.
Yeah, it's a possible case of overthinking.
Although, then again, maybe they're trying to do this because, like I say, they actually haven't been playing that much Mirage recently. Maybe this is they're trying to just do a wild pick. They're trying to do something crazy. Because as we're going to see when we get to the next map, Fnatic's also in the crazy boat. They're doing stuff that doesn't necessarily make sense.
Well, I was going to say, they're talking a wild pick. So Fnatic taking Cobblestone. I mean, what's been going on
Here's the
there?
craziest part about this. That means in terms of the order of the pick and bans, Fnatic could have picked Inferno here.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane to me. Not only did they do it, but by not picking it, then they're going to let NiP get rid of it later. So, to me, far and away, this should instantly be an Inferno pick for Fnatic. That makes me really wonder what's going on there. In scrims, did they lose to NiP? Then, if not Inferno, well, that should be a Cash pick there then, because you're really good on Cash as well. So,
it's a matchup thing.
It's just very bizarre that they pick Cobblestone.
Yeah. For Fnatic's point of view, they probably feel like it's a matchup thing. And Cobblestone for Fnatic, they have a very good track record as far as I know on Cobblestone. They play a very strong Cobblestone.
But I think that's more about the fact that everyone else doesn't want to play it rather than any particular godlike Cobblestone tactics. It's still very...
No. I'm not saying that their tactics are godlike. It's just the way they've found their roles on the map. Like, Olofmeister on long B does a heck of a job. And then they have a unit of 3 guys going towards A who play very well down there, and they seem to always capitalize on the pick situations. And I don't know, it just feels like a map where they've just found their rhythm and seems to work out for them.
Well, think about all the other series we've seen this weekend, okay? Constantly a theme is that I keep saying, like, okay, this team's like picked a map here, but actually it's very strong for the opponent as well. In general, because these are the top teams in the world, a lot of them are willing to actually play on the shared maps. Like, okay, you're strong in Inferno, well, I think I'm strong as well, let's play on it. We both play on maps we're good at. This shows you how interesting the NiP Fnatic dynamic is, where both's a little edgy about the other one. Like, Fnatic's been the better ranked team, but Fnatic always know that NiP can maybe take them to the limit, where both are trying to do sort of crazy picks, kind of like not even their top 2 or 3 maps, trying to go deep. The Fnatic one especially is a really wild pick to me, that they're picking something that in general, I mean, if you put an order of the best Fnatic maps, to get to Cobblestone, you'd be like 5 or 6 deep before you got there. It wouldn't even be in the top 2 or 3. And to pick it, you have to forego Cash, you have to forego Inferno to your absolutely best maps.
Yeah.
Now, NiP has done you a little bit of a favor by picking you Mirage. You've got one at least that you're good on, but this is one of those maps where if Fnatic loses this Cobblestone, if they lose the series, that's where immediately you'd start there. Like, well, why did he pick Cobblestone, you know? So it's a big risk, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a risky pick. Just to go over the last 2 bans, obviously Inferno removed by NiP. I mean, they were probably thinking, Jesus, I can't believe can't believe we've actually got to remove it by this stage. And then Fnatic, of course, banned us too, which I think is fairly sensible under the circumstances.
Well, especially because then they know it's Cash left over at that point in time.
So we have got Mirage, Cobblestone, Cash. Let's talk a little bit about the players then. Now, we've had a few Mirage. I mean, we're actually going to see Cobblestone in the series for the first time, I think, the tournament.
First in this tournament, yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. But let's talk about Mirage. We've talked a lot about mid-control, and I think we've kind of done that to death a little bit. So let's talk about some of the other dynamics, you know, controlling A, controlling B. What kind of setups are we going to expect to see from these teams?
Well, historically, one thing that actually has sometimes let Fnatic down on this map, like when I think of the map they played, it was actually the deciding 3rd map at MLG X3M's Aspen, where NiP finally beat Fnatic. It actually wasn't to do with the usual story of like JW peeking mid or Crimson Olaf holding A. It was all down to Flusher had a really bad tournament inside of B, and he plays the balcony area. And because he could not hold it, NiP could go there anytime they wanted. And that opened the whole map up for them, because then they could fake B instead going from mid into A. And so the whole legendary Fnatic lockdown defense was broken apart just by the weakest link, though. It wasn't that the star players weren't having a good game, because in that game, actually, Crims was playing phenomenally. So there's maybe an interesting one. If Fnatic was to lose this, if they weren't to be as dominant as we think CT side, maybe it can come from there, because, I mean, actually, at this tournament, Flusher has been playing pretty well. I think he's overall, it's not at that kind of scale, but that's one area where I could see it a weakness for them.
From NiP's point of view, I would go on a bomb side and say Exist. We haven't really talked about him much this tournament at all, and he's actually
Thorin has.
Well, I haven't.
He called him a mother lover yesterday, I believe.
All right, cool. However, he does
that guy.
Yeah, he does a good job on A though, and that's going to be. I think it's going to be a very important factor here for NiP if they want to have a good CT hub. He plays around the bomb side, and his job is pretty much to take the initial attack to his hands and anti-flash them and try to get as many kills before going down. That's
it's funny that because NiP don't actually play Mirage that much, when you think of positions, he's actually one of the first people you think of in terms of that up close to the small ramp. That's like he's very good at that position, actually. He's really good timing on when to go up, when they're all lining up on that little ramp. So that's one of the strange things about CS. Sometimes you can have a player who's really good at a position, but you don't play the map. I think a famous example is Virtus Pro. Taz is one of the best players on top of that hut, the blue hut, ever. From 1.6 when it was the yellow hut, he's a god there. And yet Virtus Pro actually for so long refused to play Nuke. So it's not necessarily individual strengths, it's how the team as a whole feels. And sometimes you have to go away from a map if your team doesn't like it. So I agree, I think this can be a very big, like a key X factor on the A site there.
Well, look, I think we won't go too much more into it. We've obviously highlighted some players there as well. I mean, go on, I'll do you some predictions. I know we haven't been doing it, but I mean, do you think that, you know...
It's the Cobblestone pick that's really thrown me off, because I thought to myself, the way this is going to go, I thought something like this. I thought maybe NiP would pick Cash, then I thought Fnatic pick Inferno, then Mirage is the 3rd, okay? So in that world, I was actually going to be bold and say Fnatic 2-0, but this Cobblestone one's the one really throwing me off, because I have no idea what to expect from Fnatic on it, because it's not a map I see them on. So I'm going to go Fnatic's going to win 2-1, but it's the Cobblestone one I could see them losing. I'll give you a bolder prediction. I think Fnatic's going to win this whole tournament. From the way of the lay of the land at the moment, even with TSM being great, I'm saying now.
Even with my prophecy, even with the vision.
Fnatic wins this tournament, Richard, and when they do, scroll back to this point on the VOD, link it everywhere, and call me the prophet.
Okay, but if TSM do win and my vision is true, then I need to be called, I don't know, the Visionary or something.
Yeah, the Visionary. What do you want to be called if
Yeah, let's all give ourselves a cool nickname.
What scenario and then what will you be called? Yeah, but what has to happen for that to happen? What do you want? What do you want?
NiP to finally win a title.
Oh, okay, and then we call you Granddaddy.
Yeah, we'll call me Granddaddy.
Okay.
Okay.
He's going with the old guys.
Yeah, no, it's nice. You've joined the me and Sir Scoots club. It's good. So look, so you were going for 2-1 to Fnatic.
Actually, I agree with the scoreline, but it's hard for me to pick. I think Cobblestone is going to be Fnatic territory for me. I feel like they're more proven team in Cobblestone. Mirage here, however, I know Fnatic is a very good CT team, but considering NiP picked it, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say NiP takes Mirage, but if Fnatic's going to take Cobblestone, it's going to come down to cash. And that's a very hard one to predict. But since I say that NiP is going to win it,
the thing is, if it gets to the third map should actually be the best. Because I think both teams are really good on cash. That's the one where if it could get there, I think that could be a great game. Whereas the other two, I could see them each being one-sided either way.
Yep. All right.
I'll go with Fnatic. In fact, you know what? I'll just say 2-0. I'm just going to put it out there. Like Fnatic made a believer in me. Anyway, look, it was great to pick your brains. We're going to come back and do it some more, no doubt about it. But without any further ado, let's get to the game. So this is going to be NiP versus Fnatic. First map, Mirage. Take it away, Sadakist and Toby.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are here for our lower bracket final. Fnatic going up against NiP. Sadakist is the man with the knowledge here. I just say hi.
Do I have the knowledge here? I mean,
you got
this
the
is a tough one to call. I think if this goes Fnatic's way and Mirage, you look to go 2-0 after Cobble. Look, NiP played extremely well on it last night.
Yep.
There was no question. Against Envy, they stomped them. Now, debate about, yes, okay, this is Zalu's stronger map. NiP played well around him. They're starting to bring this into their itinerary, and Thorn suggested they might pick it based on that. But that was after 69. Yeah, exactly.
And Envy were really, really tired. And I know, well, the analyst actually said at the end of that game, too, it's like, I think Envious just gave up. Like, it was over. They were just too tired to keep going.
They were well. So that's the other aspect of this is NiP just played a series, had some delays, got drug out a little bit longer than perhaps was anticipated. Now they have to stay on the stage. The other aspect, of course, Fnatic hasn't played all day. They come into this. Look, Mirage, Fnatic played awesome this morning against Envy as well. That's twice Envy lost it in this tournament.
Yeah.
It's definitely a toss-up between how they each played it. Little contrasting styles. We never really saw JW get to play a slide position with the op and middle, but we still saw the efficiency of Crims and how they like to rotate Flusha in from Catwalk, use that as well. They've got a lot of diversity. NiP need to be very careful they don't make the same mistakes that Envious did, where NBK, and they weren't smoking. I was about to think it was TSM because I thought it was yesterday. It's been so long ago, but it was this morning against Envious when NBK, we saw in particular that one round, they smoked it out late. He goes for the peak. JW's there. They need to make sure they quiet down that window early. Whether they want to not have an extra body in mid and do it from CT spawn, not give up that pick, or just play it a little more passively and waiting for that smoke to deploy.
If they end up committing as many people as Envious did, like the smoke coverage wasn't perfect, so maybe that's another thing we should be looking at right now. Whoever's playing this T side, what are you looking for to smoke up the mid? Like if JW's being so dynamic, moving from window, moving into the connector, and potentially you're also going to get peeked out from Cant too, do you even try and contest that mid from the start?
I mean, that is one approach to look at it. If Fnatic is that heavy on the middle, you would think in theory, okay, let them go middle early, we'll take them over to A. The problem is that the way that they rotate it out. If JW drops down, Crims drops back up, he's already back into A. Then JW slides up to connector as well, goes back in. They just have so much, such a good support system. The really only loophole in it is if they don't get someone aggressive beyond the smokes. But we are going to get knife round started, and although our crowd is dwindling, if they get really hyped right now, I might go for the speed round. We'll see. Should I do it? I don't know.
You do it for
the crowd has to tell me to do it, not you.
Okay.
They're not telling me anything.
Simple question to the crowd. Do you want him to cast Korean-style knife round? Yes, with applause.
Come on.
It's a mix. It's a mix.
Applause.
It's a mix. For the people we got here, you got it, man. Just go for it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
So Knife is going to start and already exist up over the top, looking over to Olofmeister, who's playing passively, but JW does get into Freiburg already. Get Right finds Crimzo to bring it back into a 4-on-4 situation. It exists, wants to chase them out, but JW is going to find Get Right before he can possibly get any further. And look at the chase. 1v1 battle going on the backside of jungle, and Exist wants to make a sandwich out of Olofmeister, and they chomp down on top of him. And it's down to a 2-on-2. AK and Alu already down low. Pardon me, AK. Forest Gunner, not even tagged up. How bad-mannered of him. It goes into a 1-on-1. He's looking for Flusha. And they're just going to, oh, all right, this could kill him if he hits him direct. I'm just going to slow down because they want to slow down. So into the one-on-one. Do it. Do it. Oh, okay. Forrest just waits it out. Look at him.
That's Matrix style right there. The speed. But
Advantage,
Flusher.
yeah, Flusher.
He needed 2 hits at the end there, Forrest. That's why he couldn't finish it up. So Fnatic, they take the knife round, and it looks like they're probably, more than likely, they'll end up just staying on CTs. Even though Ninjas in Pajamas may still be happy with this. Actually, they're going to switch. So
they are.
So Ninjas in Pajamas will be forced onto CTs, and maybe this is Fnatic reading into NiP for the fact they like to play T-side at the start of a full series.
That's, yeah, I mean, this is, again, we're switching things up. We saw NiP do this on Dust 2, or pardon me, on Cash yesterday. Try and get that early start. Now it's going to be JW and Co that want to try it. And this will set the tempo for how they want to play that aggressive mid, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with it fully on Mirage. It definitely puts a lot of pressure on this pistol to give them the start they're looking for.
I'm also interested to see where Fnatic goes for the early pickups. Now, like, I was looking into a couple of games from Fnatic just to see what they do with their pistol route and how they started it off. And I think I was talking to you about this actually on day number 1 of the competition, where Fnatic, they just have to throw one smoke up to the mid window. There's a small little gap there, and they just leave JW to go for these long-range picks, get the initial drop, and then just push either in through Cat or they go up through mid connector.
And JW knows, I mean, that's one of the advantages of playing against the position you normally play yourself. He knows how to approach window because he knows what he hates playing against. He knows what works against him, so therefore he can put it into his bag of tricks. And I mean, that's typically why they leave him in that spot to take the shot. He knows the angle he has to be at, so that's what they're going to go for. So Fnatic choose to start out the hard way, and we will get map number 1 underway. Second team is going to be eliminated from this tournament after this match, and the second team into the grand final. TSM awaits the winner.
And they get to have a great night's sleep. We start tomorrow afternoon, nice and late for it all. As let's get underway. So Fnatic, let's see where they try and hit. They pick T-side, so they want to be the aggressors. Ninjas in Pajamas have a little bit more of a defensive kind of formation on their left flank. Well, Olaf, he's done this before. Fires off a couple of pot shots to Get Right in the window. There was more support there. Get Right down to 10 HP. Not looking healthy, but NiP, they still, remember, they're holding a very defensive line. So they just bring Get Right into protection. In fact, Exist can be the first one to drop. As Flush was able to find him.
Get Right has to play the passive angle on the vents because he's so low and he's already given away his position.
Yeah, but he did get the tag onto JW. So JW's a little bit injured. Forrest also holding still quite solidly. Freiburg might be forced back here through short A, but Pronax, he gets the upper hand and in they push. Get Right still on the side, but he's got little life, and JW is an easy cleanup for him. Into a 3-on-2, but that's only a grand total of 21 HP combined for the CT players. And, well, make that a little bit lower. Only 9 HP for Forrest. He doesn't have much to work with here unless he can get some headshots. Olaf already just spamming out that Tech 9. He knows he only needs 1 bullet to kill off Forrest, and in fact, JW is going to pick him off from the side. So Fnatic take the first round here on Tees.
Calculated as well. Got the early pick, and it looked like when they committed to that window, you might expect them to wrap into A, but just based on the fact when Get Right dropped, they knew they had to open up B. It had to be a split from the defense, and the fact that he was already rotating over indicated that the others were probably ahead of him in doing so. So good read to go back to B. 1 SMG out, though. Look at Get Right. Goes straight for this MP9. He's going to be up against 3 AKs, a UMP, and MP7 has started off, and the AK gets the distance shot. That's Exist to go, but look at Freiburg and Forrest, the pistols.
They got the perfect little cross. Flush is still going to open up the A site, and in fact, it's going to be JW in through the underpass, taking out the remaining 3. So while Freiburg might be able to do a hell of a lot up through mid, there's a quick return kill, and Fnatic take the second round.
And big damage dealt. That's a small victory because there was 3 AKs bought up, so they lost a rifle in that round already. They'll keep 3 AKs in this one. They bought one more back out. JW goes back. Okay, so they buy a 4th now as well onto Pronax, but JW goes back to the SMG. That still hurts, so NiP give themselves a bit more of a chance. Yes, they got the early kills. Would have been nice to win the round, but that's still significant. Oh, JW, careful not to get caught.
Yeah, he switched to the smoke at the last moment and pulled the MP7 back into his stash. Exist feeling he's been surrounded on all sides, and rightly so he is. He's the only man here. There's the only, okay, where? Okay, Sandwich, JW's going to bring him down. A side's completely exposed, and looks like Ninjas in Pajamas, they either try and retake this as a team, which makes a lot of sense when they haven't spent any massive money on pistols. Well, they just waited out. Pronax checking every single corner. That smoke's making it very difficult. As NiP, he's so close. Killing off Alu, stuck in window. He might not have realized he has to drop down. Actually, yeah, he is. He's looking in towards that mid connector. Over towards Cat more than anything else. And, well, Forest as well. Coming for the peak. A little bit closer towards the underpass. And, yeah, Ninjas in Pajamas realize there's not much more they can get apart from maybe just getting them to delay so they had to explode with the bomb. Olof's already low, and now GetRight running in. It's going to be... Yeah, it's still the third round for Fnatic. Ninjas in Pajamas, they tried the B-stack, it didn't work.
I mean, they're going to buy this round anyway, so regardless of whether or not GetRight keeps that SMG, really doesn't change much. So we might as well, again, do some more damage. They already did that well in round number 2. And we're going to go straight to JW's op versus Alu. Again, Alu on Mirage usually is quite good. He was a little bit slow on it in the start of the game yesterday against Envious, but of course they did pick up that win, so it ultimately didn't matter. This one's going to be a little bit more pressure for him, and already the tag.
Yep, switches over towards the mid, takes out Flusha so quick. The presence of mind to look towards the mid. JW got smoked out, that's why his orbs had no effect so far. I think Alu might have also scouted out the fact that Fnatic was bouncing themselves down. And Pronax smoking it up, starts to fire, hits pretty heavily into Alu. He's only got 3 HP, and Forrest's going to take him down as well as Crims, and puts a 3 for in.
Very well played. So again, GetRight's back over to A. We're not seeing him in his default. We talked about that yesterday. Instead of going for the window, Alu turns around. That shot, that reaction shot on the connector, that awareness shot was perfectly timed. They give up connector that way. Then they have to force that second player out. Forrest actually, instead of playing directly from window, went to the underpass, tried to pinch off with Freiburg. It ended up working. But if Alu does drop there and they start to work onto the A site, you put a lot of pressure on to exist. Forrest gets trapped in middle because the other players still have a presence there, and NiP has to play basically from behind and fight their way back into position. So Alu started it off, and the rest was just brilliant.
Can NiP go back-to-back now? Fnatic looking for that small little opening. The smoke is making it difficult. Now they see the Molotov flying out, so Freiburg can reveal the position. Starts spraying. There's a decent amount of damage to JW. Still got 19 bullets left in that clip. Able to kill off Olaf, but can't get much more, so Forrest will arrive with that M4. Wants to throw the Molotov down to stop that bomb plant from coming in quickly, and giving time for GetRight to move him through the kitchen area. But now there's only 2 players left alive for the T's. They didn't really have a lot to play with, considering money was very limited, and it's all up to Flusha, who is going to get mopped up by GetRight. They did get the plant down at least, but that's going to get defused.
And you look, I mean, this is round 5, and they had to save after their first loss. And usually what we've been seeing, it's more so now that the SMGs are out, is that you're going to get 2 buys. If you get your first 3 rounds, you're going to get 2 buys if you lose the next 2 because you got so much money built up. But again, that early damage on round 2 made a huge amount of difference. They never really got to go to those SMGs. They had to upgrade into the AKs, so NiP's keeping them very honest. Just the little things that are making all the difference right now for them, and this is bringing them back into the game early. Again, guns are going to come out, but Flush is going to play it off toward A. The rest of them are going to head up onto B. Watch out for Alu. He's going to get aggressive onto the catwalk this time, so changing his angle every round.
Yeah, he's trying to make sure this mid cannot be controlled by Fnatic, but Fnatic, they've got ways around that. At the same time, I think Forrest is already very much aware of it too. So they just hold the defense angle. GetRight can get the vision down into underpass if he wants to. In fact, there's already some smokes and nades coming out. He starts to spray before they come up, hitting the head of Pronax. So Forrest feels he can come closer towards the window. Battles up against Crims. Actually, not that much damage for the position he was in. Those 2 players down for Fnatic. JW still waiting for that opening. While Olaf, the flash in, able to gun down Forrest in the window. Forrest deciding to actually have the peak anyway, even though they've got the man advantage and Flusha. He's opening up the A site. GetRight still at the back, and they're very much aware of that. That's why the smoke and the nades are flying down there now. And they'll try and cut off this rotation from the B side. Olaf moving in close, and he's waiting perfectly for Freiburg, but Freiburg gets the upper hand.
That's big. That's big.
That means they can control the mid. JW's got to move at some point. But this bomb is still on the wrong side of the map for Fnatic.
Well, the interesting part is Alu. We can see it is down onto the catwalk. That'll open up the backside of the site, so he needs to be aware of this and fall back into his position. Meanwhile, he's still preoccupied, and JW drops to Freiburg. Now it's all left to Flusha with this bomb. He does get Alu, so he'll at least get the plant. He's actually got time to not only get the plant, but he should be able to get into position. And now he's going to take the fight. He wants to hold this close angle on Freiburg.
He might be able to. They're both coming in from the same angle, so a secondary flash still available. Get right, going to be blinded up. Then again, so is Flasher. The two flashes come out. So Flasher trying to hold the back, takes out Get Right now into one-on-one. Freiburg's a man, but Flasher holds it. Big round.
1 versus 3 clutch from him.
That's also going to ensure the fact that NiP is incapable of maintaining an AWP. Because they had to, but then again, look at the buy-up that's coming in from NiP. We're looking at auto.
Oh my goodness, Exist is going to go for it. Yeah, we've seen them utilize it on this map many times.
Is it Exist or is it Get Right? Because normally he plays at the back of A.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they toss it. No, it is going to be Exist. They're going to go straight out. He's got the back side of the site, so Get Right's going to move it over toward Connector. This changes things again, but just go back to that last round. Alu gets aggressive on Cat, doesn't fall back, gets caught out, and that's what changed a lot of it. Freiburg nearly brought the round back when they went for that mid boost, because if he hadn't gone down before event, then they split to A a lot easier. Right now they're just playing for positions, but again, they're going to catch off window. That's Alu already out of it. So the op drops. Get Right has to fall into jungle to respond, and they're going to catch Forest as well.
This is wonderful position now for Fnatic. They're not quite sure. Well, they're looking to control up window. They keep the flashes and the nades.
And the difference is that early in the game, Get Right, well played, holds that spray. He's so good at controlling his recoil, but the difference is they aren't directly contesting middle. It's been working with the passive mid. We saw Forest with that late push through underpass. They've stuck with it, and as a result, Fnatic's getting up close with the underpass, one-player underpass, and then, I mean, Olaf's come up so many times that they're just catching these frags on the window. As Freiburg will catch Pronax, that'll slow things down, and he's going to get more. Crims as well. And Get Right contributes. Now, this is his default spot normally, so he knows how to play that reverse angle, and JW is going to drop to him. It's all left to Flush. He won a 1v3 last time. But this time he doesn't have the bomb to work with, and they've already got it covered.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult again there. I love that the initial flash that came out, and Freiburg knew exactly where he had to throw that flash, just popped it in. And Flusher feeling pressured. Only 18 seconds left on the clock, so he has to go in for this B side. Starts with the first pick, but Exist with that auto sniper will pick him up from the kitchen side. So Fnatic now 4-3. They still hold that one-round advantage. But money is insanely tight for them while NiP are walking around with, well, luxury items. Having that auto sniper plus the normal AWP. So Fnatic being very defensive on that top mid again. Obviously, you're only walking around with pistols.
I mean, that's the thing. They want to play this passively. I thought they were going to rush it to apartment and go in toward the underpass to get up close. They haven't even done that. So you got to question what the approach is now for Fnatic. Two players are eventually going to head in that direction, but Alu's already inside the connector looking that way. Crims now heads back over to A, so you have to think they're still going to want to go for this split. You would have thought late in the round they might go just straight for a B push, but they're still sitting up. There's no nades either, so this isn't really much of an execution. This is just going to be strength in numbers, and that leads me to believe that the victory for them at this point is just get the bomb down to keep money flowing, because they've already got 4 rounds.
Alu gets the first sign of a player. Throws down the nade. It's going to hit Pronax very hard, down to 13 HP.
But look how far Olaf just got. He just walked up middle. There's no flashes, there's no smokes. He just walks up. Okay, so Alu catches him. That's the big thing, but if he has a rifle right there, that could have been a whole different story.
At the same time, well, actually, Alu's going to drop, but Exist is still there to mop up the rest. Get Right with this M4. He holds them back, and Exist gives the crossfire to pick off JW as we try to come out of the palace. But now they leveled up 4 rounds apiece. And still short on money here for Fnatic, but they're going to buy up now into... I'm seeing some Galils and AKs flying around.
Man, Fnatic didn't even get that bomb plant, so it was a bit of a lackluster round for them. There wasn't really much organization or intention, at least. They didn't have much intent at all to what they were looking to do. So Flush is going to lead off this time. He'll play your bait, your lurk player, and he may actually get company in doing it, or will he? Just one in the shadow. Forest also holding off that angle. Pronax, Olaf, that close smoke on Flash. Oh, good nade, lands right in the face of Olaf Meister. That's full damage. And that smoke allows him to slide left. Pronax eventually takes that opportunity, and look at Alu. He's smoked off again, and they've got 2 players up close. They need to make sure they hold this connector at this point.
Alu actually started to move down towards underpass to try and get that quick pick off, but once he hit that nade, the spray from up on top mid forced him, or at least made him feel like he should get him back into connector. That practically saved his life right there. Was now Alu levels it up. Exists. All that auto sniper running an aggressive position on apartments. Going to keep the smoke up, realize being pushed in through short A as well, and Olaf's going to get the upper hand there. While Olaf actually killing off Alu inside the kitchen. Forrest moving as quick as he possibly can. In through the kitchen, but they know he's going to be there. So it's up to 2 players, Forrest as well as Get Right. Get Right having to wait for Forrest to arrive on the site. Maybe he can find just one quick pick, and well, there goes Get Right. And Forrest going to drop just as quickly. So 5 rounds to 4, Fnatic securing that B side, getting the plant down, and they hold on to their weapons. Probably more important at this point.
I mean, yeah, that is important at this point. Again, we've got 5 rounds up. NiP aren't getting early picks. They can't get the angles in middle to control the positioning Fnatic's getting. And even there, they got up mid to start things off in the round, but then they fell back because they had them divided. They figured out enough information. They forced Alu out of that window, backside onto jungle. That's a bit longer for him to rotate over. And specifically, more importantly, gave them catwalk on the take. Now, Pronax has got some contests coming his way, as does JW, and Exist takes it out. They line it up. He's got 2.
And he's also got the bomb there. He lost Get Right because the initial hit into Get Right, but Alu's for support. I say that until Olaf, really an absolute beast on the AK for this map. He's going to hit up Exist. Flashes, Molotovs, Crim's throwing everything he's possibly got so he can walk in and pick up that bomb. But Exist going to flashbang, turns his back in, but Crims was waiting for it. So it's 2-on-2 at the moment. The bomb can get back into the hands of Fnatic, and they've still got 1 minute to plant it down. But their players are so isolated.
And look at Freiburg. Speaking, oh, careful looking away. I think he heard him jump, and Olaf's going to get the shot. He's trying to jump up over that wall just to see if anyone was pushing down the stairs from CT. Little did he know the second player was actually coming from the other way.
The last player left up for NiP is the one man who didn't buy up anything. So he has no rifle to play around with. The nade's coming in, and he already realized Forrest is in trouble. So round to Fnatic.
Do they want it? Does Olaf grab it?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look at this lineup. This start things off. You'd think NiP had a great chance in the round at that point, but well held by Fnatic to pull themselves back into it, and now they've got the 2-round lead. Op out for JW and Pistols again for NiP. You have to think back to map number 1 against TSM when things started off slowly on their CT side. That made all the difference. They had a late charge, but this is Fnatic on Mirage. Those rounds on T are going to be a lot harder to get. So they need to pretty much close out on this half.
That's difficult to do when you lose Freiburg over on the apartment. So now B, very thin on defense. And if they lose Forrest as well, they already reveal his position over a cat, which means if the apartment players want to move up, they can do so. And Get Right tries to do something about it, runs up through mid. We've got to remember, NiP, they're only here with pistols. That's why they're in the more aggressive positions and not winning these gun battles.
There was good damage dealt as well onto Olaf, but he just placed himself in the corner, and Get Right came out. Pronax was there to support. In fact, he looked like he was going to flash himself out of it, but I think Pronax called him off of that, so they'll not only get the kill, save the flash on a take on the site. Forrest forced up the ladder. The floor's on fire. It's lava. It's like recess at school.
The roof is meant to be on fire.
As long as the room's not on fire.
And that's, oh.
Hashtag Anderson Semler.
Yeah. Please, give on this. Here comes Fnatic. They've managed to loop themselves all the way around to come into the A side. Alu is back over. Able to pick up Crims at least, but won't get much more than this with Pronax putting that AK to work. Last player is Forrest, and again, he's in this horrible position. He's going to get shut down by Pronax. Picking up a 4 for that round. And Fnatic, their 7th round of victory as we're rapidly approaching the end of our first half.
So now NiP will go back into it. Alu, though, doesn't get the op out. Remember that first round he had it when they controlled mid. It was a passive hold then as well, but they actually got that first shot on Olaf pushing aggressively the connector. We saw how much that changed, but they haven't got these picks early.
Oh, JW.
And there it is again. JW gets Get Right. They try and drop down and force the issue. Forrest only getting 1, but he gets it. They get back into it. There's 2 now as he picks up JW. So that evens the round. Watch out, though, onto A as Flusha comes out. Pronax going to pick them up, and he gets a double. It's Forrest falling back, and he has nowhere to go.
There's at least a nice read by Forrest, but the problem is he's being attacked on both sides. There was nothing much more you could do once you get that initial pick off. Ninjas in Pajamas were just scrambling to get the defense on the mid. But this is what we were talking about with JW, Zorp. Right on target, taking out that mid window. Now Ninjas in Pajamas, they're forced again to hold on to these pistols of theirs. And the flash is already allowing, look at Pronax so quickly in. He'll have to check down. Well, actually, they're looking over towards the boxes. She'll also be looking down towards, well, potentially Shadow. They're Molotoved it out, as well as the jungle. JW with 2. And this site now belongs to Fnatic. They did lose, however, Olaf and JW to get it. So it's not the cleanest round, and GetRight did manage to pick up that AK. So potentially he can contest, but it's still a 3-on-1.
Well, no better person to contest in a 1-on-3 than GetRight. He actually had to circle back for that AK. That left Forrest alone for a couple of seconds longer. And look at Pronax. He's going on the search. He's already at the horseshoe, trying to come around and figure out exactly where GetRight is. And he's just going to wait it out inside jungle. Needs to be careful, though, because Flusha is going to watch the backside. And Krim's still searching up toward Palace. They're all on the chase right now.
GetRight's going to be happy to try and battle. If they engage in him, of course. And here it is. There's your battle, and well, I suppose GetRight might be happy about it, but Flush is going to be even more happy as he's able to get that AK out of the hands of NiP. But they've got money to buy this round. So we're seeing the AWPs, the M4s are arriving for us, still with 6.5k to buy. So a full buy round for both sides.
And right now I have to think the debate. Forrest is in a position. Does he go double op? Yep, there it is. I think they sat and talked about it for a minute because that was a late buy from him. So this is NiP trying to get back in.
And Alu's actually going to go for this mid pick.
JW's not there, though.
JW is looking to try and come in through that A side, up through the stairs. But they can at least get a nice little crossfire on mid. But difficult for any of Fnatic to push up, either through Cat or to go directly down mid as Alu's watching from that window space. A lot of patience from Fnatic.
Patience as well, though, from NiP in this place. But again, look at the passive hold on mid. Olaf, Krims have full reign. Forrest wants to play it from the off angle. That's a tough off angle. It's not quite the same as holding it in close to the wall on Catwalk where he can retreat around the corner. This means if he gets stuck in there, he has to go toward the ladder, which means then they just wait for him inside window. It relies on GetRight to pull him out of the position. So the best he can do, okay, so he's going to fall off of it. Because the best he could do from there is either get a trade or wait desperately for someone to come bail him out.
And there's no point to go for a trade when you're walking around with an AWP in 37 seconds. The pressure is on Fnatic, not you.
There is only 30 seconds left, though, so this is going to be commitment. Forrest is still going to come back into pressure. There's your op shot. There's your second op coming into play. Make it 2. Olaf around the corner, midair. Forrest picks him off.
Yeah, and they can hear him coming now in through apartments. Flush is still able to secure that short A, but that short B, but it's not going to matter when the rest of Fnatic can come in through apartments. GetRight waiting for JW. Executioner style, point blank with the M4. And the bomb is down on the deck. Pronax difficult and cannot complete it. So a round gets to go the way of Ninjas in Pajamas after a while, but they do manage to pick up and hold the double AWP. So GetRight and Nalu, they get to control him, giving it over to Forrest. Nalu again. So a great round for NiP and Forrest, a big hold. Really big hold. I thought when he missed that first shot on Olaf that all things were going to go wrong for NiP.
Well, I mean, the double op works. They said and talked about it at the start of the, or at least in the freeze time last round. He only bought it out with 2 seconds left in freeze time, so they'll go back to it again. They're trying to make this 9-6. They pretty much have to.
How quick do Fnatic want to move? Very, very quick. Pronax and Krims are not wanting to wait for anything, but GetRight might make him. Krims already killing off Alu. And they managed to run all the way through underpass, and GetRight, well, already Krims. I don't know if you saw him run in there, but there was no response from GetRight.
And it was relentless. He just walked into the corner. Again, I don't think he did see him, but nonetheless, he walked in. It's directly out of that angle. Oh, Forrest hits that shot.
Krims down to 8.
That slows everything in mid.
That means Exist going to be a lot more successful with this until the smoke comes down. So he's got no vision into mid connector.
Now this is interesting the way they're rotating back off of this because this leaves Exist alone. Forrest has to do all the work, and this time it's going to go ahead and be the M4 on Catwalk with the double. He does get answered in the end by JW, but Forrest still in the backside. Does tag up on Krims, low HP. Sees one drop, but he has to pick a shot very carefully right now because he's still waiting for Exist to come around, and Krims already found him.
Yeah, 2 opportunities and only shot once. And wasn't able to connect, so it's all up to Exist. A 1-on-3 with the M4.
Needs to be careful.
So many angles to cover, though.
That's the hard part. Remember, Exist has been very clutch in this tournament so far, but he's not going to do it this time, and it's going to be double digits for Fnatic in halftime number 1, 10-5.
They're looking solid, but now we do switch it up, so Ninjas in Pajamas, when they're feeling down, when they're feeling out, they like to be the aggressors, so they get to switch over the T side, but Fnatic, like, we're expecting a pretty solid defense from them.
Oh, again, we have to watch how this mid plays out, and if NiP want to take the fight, or if they're going to just wait for them to shuffle around in their positions and get away from it. Because, again, we talked about it. Flusha can slide out from Catwalk. You've got Krims in connector, who once JW is smoked off, pops out, covers it off until that either that smoke dissipates or lets JW drop down, look at the underpass. He'll fall back up to A, and they circulate. Basically, he comes up connector, then the ops holding off to Palace. Crims goes into the window because they might be up close by then, and if they're not, they just switch it back over. They're very dynamic on the way that they hold A and mid together, and it all comes down to NiP, again, if they want to take that fight or not. If they don't take that fight, then watch for a lot of A executions.
Yeah, well, that was something too, which I know Thorin was talking about on the panel. Like, as far as like getting into the A side, as long as you got your smokes and nades, you should better get in there and get the plant down. Of course, the retake is still there, and you have to hold the site, but it's one way to at least start getting these plants down and potentially rounds up against Fnatic. We start the pistol, so the second half, round number 16, gets to begin now. And NiP are looking over towards, well, it's a bit of a split. It's looking for the 2 to B and then the 3 to A. But they abandon the mid. And there's your flashes, there's your nades.
Look at Flushshot falling back, so this pulls him away from it. But there's still 2 players over there. They're not doing anything to sell this either. So this is actually really interesting. They sold on the bomb side, tried to pull the rotation. Now they'll go in on B. Bomb's going to fall back, and based on these picks from their teammate, they'll go or not. They're going to go. They have to go. They've already taken down Flushshot and Pronax. I like this strategy.
It's basically cut off Fnatic. Freiburg doesn't realize that JW is waiting in that mid connector. At the same time, Alu, he's managed to pick up 3 for the round, doing the work for his team, spamming out that Tech 9. The plant, it still hasn't gone down yet. Now it finally does. Get Right did some tag damage, but only into Olaf. JW is still at full life. They need to find these initial headshots. Get Right poking for a moment, pokes again. Olaf right on target. Still got a lot of time with this plant. JW moves out with a CZ, but it's Exist to get the kill from up in the apartments. And Olaf knows he can't easily kill off Exist, but he's got Get Right down on the ground, running away from him. Sorry, Forrest, that is. Running away from him, and he can kill him off. Can he get the defuse? It's not going to be tough. He doesn't have enough time anyway. He'll get the kill, but there's just no time.
Good news, okay, well, he goes down, it doesn't matter. Good news is he's going to get a lot of frag money, but that was almost in a weird way, like a reverse fake. They faked with the 3 players at A, with the bomb there. That pulled 1 rotator closer to the A site. Then your B players go and try and make the distraction. Meanwhile, bomb falls back, waits for that call. If they win that exchange, great, they go, which is exactly what they did. Then Get Right pushes beyond the site, cuts off the rotators, they get the plant down. If they lose that entrance onto B, then they think, okay, it's definitely a fake. They've already faked A, they have to be there. Rotators go back the other way, which they did, and they would have walked into A. So they gave themselves 2 options on that pistol strategy.
Just seems the only thing they didn't really count on was JW sitting in that mid connector, because that stopped the extra flank to come in from behind from NiP. But we're back into the round again, and Ninjas in pajamas on this T side, behind by 4 rounds for the moment, but they've got the weapons up. Let's Get Right. Controls the mid connector. Not perfectly. He hasn't got out to the A side just yet. Need to make a bit more of a hole, as in fact there's going to be a trade-off. So JW for Get Right.
Freiburg has to be careful. He's up close with the bomb right now. That's it. It's down.
That reveals the position too, but the bang through the wall for Exist. Finding Crims. New is sitting on the stairs.
Need to move a little bit quicker. Flush is still not in a good position. Alu's going to take the fight, but Exist can come up right now if he wanted to. Into connector, he's got to go quick. He's still got 47 seconds, but Alu's alone. And this is giving away more information to Fnatic, so they have to act.
Exist is just the walking wounded, though. You don't want to throw him into a position where he's just going to end up dying. Almost worth a switch over of the weapons. So Alu's able to hold that AK. But they are looking to come to A, but that's where Fnatic is. They've already prepared 2 on the defense, and it's a very split defense too. Pronax.
Oh, Forrest.
He doesn't know. And planning exposed means the Pronax is capable of shooting him, and the hit comes into Pronax, but Pronax actually got Exist as well. Now Flush can mop it up, and NiP. Well, that's not the plan.
I'm speechless. That second shot, the first one was good enough to get the planter. That bought them time. Look at that, boom.
That wasn't even meant to properly connect. It was just to walk back, keep it hopefully on target, and maybe you'll connect.
Man,
but that was
reaction.
the problem with Exist being only on like 12 life. It only needed just a fraction of a bullet to hit him, and exactly what happened. So Fnatic now goes 11 rounds to 6.
And the interesting thing was Forrest went all the way out to the archway and checked Tetris, and then went, he's probably not there, I'll go plant. And he waited out brilliantly. Exist didn't realize he was there until far too late.
Ninjas in pajamas. It's full smokes. It's that A attack. At the same time, Olaf throwing out the nades, trying to slow him down too. Crims, he's holding in close. The flashbangs there. They keep their back turned, but Crims takes 2, looking for the 3rd, able to get it. Support is there, but it's a big, quick mop up. Very, very quick round here in favor of Fnatic. They do still lose Crims as well as JW. but they hold the round. And
That's
that means
the big
NiP
thing.
don't have money for this round too, so it should be, if they play their cards right, the 13th round victory as well.
Well, potentially so. As we do see the scout on Olaf as well. SMG, JW, 2 M4s. This will hold your fire angles, so imagine that would be split. Crims will use one toward mid. In fact, yeah, he's heading directly toward connector right now.
And JW just scouted out exist at the top of mid. Deep nade into the apartments.
Flush is actually going to hold with the second one on Catwalk, so both of them actually were in a good position initially to start things off in mid, but Crims changes his angle. That's Freiburg down outside Palace, and Flush is already going to hold them into underpass, or at least Alu will. Looks like one got by, that's Get Right.
JW's going to get rid of him pretty quickly. Knows exist is up on that top of mid. So I'd like to get the pick off on him too. Looks like Ninjas in Pajamas. Well, they start to back up, but then they're going to run in, and JW, he hunts the kill on exist. And NiP knows they're basically being cornered. They can't come out through mid. JW finds himself another one, and Flush is going to mop up the remainder. Alu running up through underpass. I don't know what their hope was there. Maybe they were considering, hey, they could have rotated over to B. We're going to gap through mid.
Again, they got held out. Those two rifles were in a good enough spot that there wasn't much opening. And once Alu got divided from Get Right and he went down, the round was pretty much over at that point. Play for picks. There was no opening. Fnatic executed great map controls. Now they're 3 rounds away from taking map number 1 off this already, and NiP's really got to hit the reset button. We saw them go through that. I mean, it seemed like a fast series. It was 2-0, but it was a long 2-0 due to the delays in each map, and they're at the end of their wits here. They've got to stay about it. They won the marathon last night, but they didn't have to expect to run one today. Exactly what they have to do. Crimson connector, Flusha on the backside as always, so they've got this pinch set up. JW falls back passively because of that smoke and window. Didn't want Get Right to get too close with a nade.
Yeah, he only had one shot. He only had one shot, and that guy was quick on his feet. So Ninjas in Pajamas. They haven't properly controlled mid, however, until Freiburg is able to find a kill over on Flusha. So Cat, as well as Apartments, NiP are pushing through, but Pronax, the last remaining defender over on B, looking for Get Right too, can't claim the scalp. But support's moved over here from Fnatic, but
this is big because Get Right gets that kill. That opens it up. Just that one kill, and look where all the players are, all inside the kitchen, and Alu's already pushed through A, so Exist knows it's open. Once he clears this ramp, he's going to run in for this plant.
And here he goes. But then again, he's taking such a long time. Olaf's already managed to find a Tech 9 kill over on Alu. As it does look like we're having some server problems at the moment, which is what Fnatic were complaining about before.
And again, it's mid-round. Back to 3-on-3, but the bomb was just going down. Get Right, I mean, they're still in a good position here, so I won't reveal too much in case this gets resumed, and if they take their headsets off, we don't want to give away too much about what's going on, but Devil Walk's already heading over to NiP.
Yeah. It's probably going to be difficult to resume the game when you're when we're this far through. I doubt the game pauses halfway through.
Look, I mean, the question is, did they all fully disconnect? I'm trying to see down. Because we definitely disconnected, but if it resumed for the... No, it looks like they're out. They're out to the menu. I can see Crim's monitor, so yeah, so we are going to have to get this one dealt with. They still have...
Oh, they got a bot. They got Rick the bot who's in there, so yeah, now he's out. Now he's out.
So Get Right can join a team. He couldn't actually join the team. He had to wait with us in Spectator.
Mm-hmm. All right, so everyone's good to go. So it's a full round restart. We're 19 rounds in, 20th round now.
Double scout again.
Yep.
The question is, do they do this gentleman's agreement that we saw in the first map? It's a lot more complicated than this one. We were into a 3-on-3. HP was all over the board.
Well, here they come.
Yeah, no, I think
there's no gentleman's agreement. They're playing normally.
This is a whole different setup.
This is just a straight Fnatic setup. JW is looking for that pick on me. He's got a small hole on the edge of the smoke. Gonna get flash. Goes for a bit of a rando guess for where Get Right is, while Forest, earlier damage, Crims turns. Picks up Alu in the top of Palace, and he sees a secondary one there. As the smoke prep does come into the A site, that's exactly where they're trying to force in. JW point blank, they're actually touching each other. Right back behind the stairs is Forest. Nah, Crims will wrap it up. So NiP, it wasn't a committal, but they lost too many players when they tried to enter the site.
And I mean, I know that sounds unfair because it was looking like a good situation in the previous round for NiP. NiP, of course, the scores are backwards, by the way, on the top, keep in mind.
Okay.
So it says NiP is on the CT side. They are not, as we can tell. But keep in mind, this game's well and truly in the favor right now of Fnatic, and it was going to be regardless. Yeah, NiP could have potentially put something together. It would have taken a stretch. If it had been a closer game, it would have been more of an issue. So NiP pretty much at this point, based on that, will give me the indication that they're pretty much looking forward to game 2 at this point.
Looks to see one of the load bugs is there, so a 1 second buy time is what they had. So Ninjas in Pajamas not looking fantastic. Fnatic will keep him back off the B side. I don't know if these guys are... No, they're still playing. They're just spending a lot of time typing.
And they've switched to typing in Swedish as well, which leads me to believe they don't want too many people to know exactly what they're talking about. But Pronak's going to get the kill on Exist.
Oh, good flash.
Nade comes in, flash as well. Flush up Pronax with 2, make it 3, make it 4. Line them up, drop them down. They're on match point.
Yeah, now the top scoreboard has managed to correct itself. It is Fnatic on 15 rounds to 6 of Ninjas. As we just see this flash, pops up perfect time, and that caught 3 of the players. With the nade coming in from the side too, it was a simple mop-up of the apartments. Yes, Ninjas in Pajamas were walking around with just pistols, so it was probably bound to happen anyway. But just made it a little bit cleaner for Fnatic. As again, JW, thinking about these mid picks, there's so many nades coming out from top of mid. He's feeling someone's there behind the boxes too. Nice nade into the window, dropping JW down to half of his HP. Still got Freiburg behind the boxes, but when you've got Crims and Flusher, like they're the ones that can get a nice little crossfire. In fact, Flusher pushing up, Freiburg going to kill him while flashed. JW keeping these nades flying out too. That's Crims who has a defrag to connect to 2, 3. And now maybe looking for the 4th on Get Right. Can't finish the job. But JW can over on Forest, and Get Right's the last man left alive in mid, and the bomb is stuck in connector. So he has to hunt for the kills. In fact, it looks like he doesn't even want to. He's got 55 seconds, so there is time. And she moved back to pick up the grenade. I don't know if he's trying to push one of the rifles closer to him, but he's already got the AK. Olaf. Looks like JW's in the better position for the shot, but Olaf's going to shoot him from... Well, he should shoot him, come from behind in the moment.
No reason to push the issue, though. If he gets too aggressive, Get Right catches him or hears him, and he puts it to a one-on-one, doesn't matter. JW is going to find it. So 16-6 going to be our map score on Mirage.
And
seems
GG.
one-sided, and quite frankly, it really was on the specifically T side for Fnatic. Not really much going the way of NiP, and they look exhausted. They've been playing all day. They played all night last night. They've got to find it in them to squeak out 2 maps. That's it. And then you get to the final. This tournament looked very good for them with NVS out of it, and suddenly with TSM playing the way they have, NiP's in a lot of trouble here. They've got to find something quickly.
Yeah, well, they're going to find it over on Cobblestone because Mirage doesn't seem to hold it for them. I'm interested to see what the Analyst desk has to say about the first game as well as the game to come.
Well, the good news for us is there's actually not really a lot to analyze there. It was a comprehensive victory for Fnatic. Just rolled over NiP in the end and did it in a very non-traditional Fnatic way. Elected to start T side, which we don't often see from them.
And put up a lot of rounds.
And posted a lot of rounds, exactly. So, I mean, take us through the significance of that, Duncan.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is not a... It is a map that has evened up a bit more. It's not like the end of 2014 where you were guaranteed to get like 10 or 11 rounds CT, but it's still a CT-sided map, most certainly.
Yep.
Top teams like this, you're supposed to get 9 rounds. That's probably like the default nowadays. Fnatic might have even got more T rounds there. There was some close rounds that they lost to NiP, so... I actually think this was the map where, you know, I said if Fnatic ended up losing the series, we could ask them, why would you pick Cobblestone there? I think you can say the same if NiP end up losing the series now, because this was their map pick. They picked Mirage into one of the best Mirage teams of all time. So I'm not sure what they were thinking. I mean, they couldn't have known that Fnatic would go T side first. Obviously, you'd assume actually Fnatic would pick CT side. Just NiP looked really bad on this map here. Their CT defense was non-existent.
Yeah, no, I mean, today, that was the 3rd straight map they've had a horrendous first half on, right? So I mean, you're not just going to be able to climb up from those holes you're making yourself all the time. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it just came down to them really losing all the key situations on the first half, and then it's just like a snowball effect from there on.
Can you give us some insight as to maybe why they're having these slow starts? Because that's generally not been a feature of the NiP that we all know and love, the NiP that can win games.
Well, it seems like I mean, even if they win the pistol round, it seems like they're getting ecoed pretty much every time.
And like I say, they don't eco people back that often.
Yeah.
You see them on CT there, it's just 5-7 or P2000. But remember, on the second half here, NiP won the pistol round, great, and then they got immediately ecoed back because the guys from Fnatic, they're going to go for those CZs, whatever. They're going to try the risky gamble.
Yeah, and then another situation that comes to my head is where NiP went really aggressive on their CT. They literally just rushed up middle. Meanwhile, Fnatic was on the similar move where JW just rushed up out the middle and picked the first guy, jumped out of window, got a free kill, and then was just a mayhem then onwards. So when things like that keep happening, it's going to be really tough for you.
I don't think you help yourself, though, when you pick strong maps into the opponent like this. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I actually think Exist is the worst in-game leader I've ever seen in the pick ban phase. Now, NiP is such an incredible team that they still win some of these series, and they still have sometimes wins on those maps. But I've never seen an in-game leader just consistently pick his team into, like, the toughest situations imaginable.
But you gotta also remember, it's not always just the in-game leader. It's a collaboration together with the team. They're gonna talk you through and have it's not like someone's just gonna go against everyone else's opinion either. They're gonna have a collaboration about like how do they feel about as a unit, as a team.
But of the two teams, though, that's the thing, right? Any other team, I've actually done this many times on broadcasts. Before the pick bans come, sometimes like the host, if it's like Sir Scoots, he'll be like, oh, what's it gonna be? And with all the other teams, I could probably guess with like 90% certainty, like, oh, well, they usually ban this. You know, against this team, they'll want to pick this.
He is a much better host than me, obviously, so there is that, right?
You're younger than him. You're younger than him.
Well, I've got that going for me.
So, yeah, with the other teams, I can nearly always pick. With NiP, I can't, just because logically, if I'm trying to think what they should pick, that's usually not what they pick. So, yeah, it's just a strange wrinkle. I mean, going forwards, luckily for them, Fnatic's done this weird pick Cobblestone. It's not like that's the end of the game. It's not like Fnatic did pick Inferno, and now it's like, well, you know, now it's probably series over. I think NiP still have their chances here, but it doesn't help when you start out like that. You start on the strong side, you get totally dominated, and you've got the pause situation. That's only going to tilt you more if you NiP at that point, because actually the game was pretty much out of hand already. It's not like it was if they'd had a pause like that at like 9-6 or some, you know, some sort of score like that, you might be able to recoup at that point.
Yeah, and Cobblestone is a map where it's a lot about like a default kind of play. It's a very it's not a strategy-heavy map to begin with. It's a lot of pick-and-play type of thing. And so for NiP to be able to win this year, their star players need to pick it up and start playing better, simply. Because Fnatic is very good. I've seen quite a bit of Fnatic on Cobblestone, actually. And their individuals do really seem to enjoy playing Cobblestone. So I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for NiP.
Well, you've read my mind a little bit here to talk about Cobblestone. I was going to ask, sorry to cut you off there, Duncan, but I was going to ask about NiP on Cobblestone. I'm kind of struggling in my mind to think of a time since ESL Cologne, I think, where I've actually seen them post, you know, decent performances on there when they've had to play it.
I think they might have played it at Gfinity. I think they might have played it once there.
Yeah.
Thing is, in general, it's not a map they're playing. That's the thing with all these other maps here. I mean, you never really usually have to get down to the Cobblestone, because the Cobblestone overpass are usually the typical bans actually for most teams now. NiP obviously always banning overpass. For Fnatic, though, I can remember actually at Katowice, they had a great game against Virtus Pro in the semi-final. That was actually a really awesome game. So, yeah, Fnatic can have reasons to feel strong on it. I'm not really sure for NiP. I don't really know what the history is there on it, so what do you think?
I mean, they haven't played it much in officials, to be honest with you. It's been one of those maps where it seems like they don't really seem to enjoy playing these new maps or newer maps to begin with. So it's going to be, they're probably going to always pick the lesser bad, so to speak, for them. And probably they are feeling like overpass is a bigger problem for them.
And then the big problem, if you're trying to go historically on Cobblestone, is that it's one of those maps where the rework of it, the change in the middle area, is so drastic that like you can't really count the old results. Like obviously the old NiP had some great results, but
that is true.
It really did change it a lot.
I'm talking about NiP that played on the original incarnation of Cobblestone when it was first brought into the competitive map pool.
It's a different.
So you're right. It's a whole different ball game now. Let's pick out some jewels, like players to maybe watch on this map. Now, obviously, Natu, you're the resident player here, although I hear Thorin's pretty mean in Gold Nova too. What can we expect to see on this map, and which players?
You know, those people will think that he's actually serious there as well. Now, people say I'm in Gold Nova too.
Really? I mean,
well, of course, everyone knows you're Silver 4, really.
I do enjoy watching Olfmeister on Cobblestone T-side, the way he plays B-Long and just goes through smokes and causes havoc in B-side. And he's a lot of fun to watch there.
Yep.
And he does a phenomenal job at it too. So he's a player to watch for me on Cobblestone for Fnatic. You get to pick NiP.
Yeah, okay, for NiP on this map, even though it has changed to a degree, it's got to be get right. Yeah. Because this map, one of the features that still exists is it's still a huge map. And it's got so many spots you can hide, and it takes the terrorists so long to advance into sites that it's one of the few maps where, as a CT, you can push up really aggressively in the corridors and get these advanced positions to hold a corner. And so that's why the original Cobblestone was Get Right's playground. There's a million angles. You can never check them all. If you go in one by one, he's going to get the drop on you sometimes. And obviously, famously, he loves that drop zone area. That's why he's like just drawn to that area over and over. But he's so good at abusing the angles of it, being in a weird spot. So if NiP was to win this, I think it's got to be like a classic Get Right performance, like lurking, getting kills and people in the back. Sometimes not even getting the kill, but just frightening people. And like, oh, he could be there, and they go even slower, and he winds a bit of time off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, lots of lurking potential, which brings us back to Sir Scoots, doesn't it, really?
But not in bathrooms, though, this time, just on Cobblestone.
I hope he's not watching this. But anyway, look, thanks a lot for giving us your thoughts on that particular map. I'm looking forward to see how it goes down. And quickly, do we feel this is going to maybe change any of our predictions? I did go with 2-0 for Fnatic. I'm feeling pretty confident at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking like that. The thing is, this is just a strange map. I don't know. I think I'll change my vote. I'll go 2-0 for Fnatic.
Okay.
I mean, why change your opinion? That's
what, when new facts present themselves? Yeah, okay.
So you've already
6,000 years old. Dinosaurs don't exist.
You already locked it down before. You only get one say.
I locked it down that Fnatic to win the tournament. Well, whatever then.
See? So it doesn't matter if they win 2-1 or 2-0?
It doesn't.
There we go.
Come on, guys. We've all had a drink.
Okay.
Right?
Luddite Natu says, don't ever change your opinions, guys. Just stick with him till the bitter end.
But you made one prediction. You only get one shot at it. So I'm going to stick to mine.
8 Mile, you know. You get as many shots as you want. You don't get one shot to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo.
We can go and eat mom spaghetti in a bit, guys. Thanks a lot for that. I really appreciate it. So there we go. We're going to cut to a break. Be about 5 minutes. You're going to watch some highlights. You may have seen them before. And then we're going to come back and we're going to have NiP versus Fnatic on Cobblestone. See you then.
Flasher, the two flashes come out. So Flasher trying to hold the back, takes out Get Right now into one-on-one. Freiberg's a man, but Flasher holds it.
That's one player underpass, and then, I mean, Olaf's come up so many times that they're just catching these frags on the window. As Freiberg will catch Pronax, that'll slow things down, and he's going to get more. Crims as well. His way, as does JW, and Exist takes it out. They line it up. He's got 2.
Coming to the A side. Alu is back over. He's able to pick up Crims at least, but won't get much more than this with Pronax putting that AK to work.
It's interesting the way they're rotating back off of this because this leaves Exist alone. Forrest has to do all the work, and this time it's going to go ahead. They sold on the bomb side, tried to pull the rotation. Now they'll go in on B. Bomb's going to fall back, and based on these picks from their teammate, they'll go or not. They're going to go.
Which means that Pronax is capable of shooting him, and the hit comes into Pronax, but Pronax actually going to Exist as well. 2 Crims. He's holding in close. The flashbangs there. They keep their back turn, but Crims takes 2, looking for the third, able to get it. Support is there, but it's a big, quick mop-up.
Switch just typing in Swedish as well, which leads me to believe they don't want too many people to know exactly what they're talking about. But Pronax is going to get the kill on Exist.
Oh, good flash.
Nade comes in, flash as well. Flush up Pronax with